Let's talk about the action that we're seeing this morning. After this news that the administration was going to allow these chips to be sold, we're actually seeing NVIDIA pulling back. What do you make of that and the idea of what this means for sentiment when it comes to the AI trade?
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, year-to-date, semis have been on fire, but a lot of it has been the memory names, SanDisk being, again, the top-performing stock year-to-date in the S&P 500. NVIDIA, of course, which has been the AI leader, has kind of stalled out a bit, frankly, because so much of its future earnings growth has been baked into its valuation. So this is a net positive, but it's one of those issues that we're seeing where chips are now part of kind of this arms race where we have one step forward and two steps back. Ultimately, I think we will see NVIDIA reasserting some sales coming from China. But until that point, until we have some greater certainty, I think it's going to be difficult for this to actually be sort of another kickstart for NVIDIA to lead the market higher.
I want to get to a few other topics, but I do have to ask, as someone who holds NVIDIA stock as part of your ETF, do you think this is priced in, the idea that there could be some sales from China? Clearly, the Chinese government trying to limit it, but there could be some sales there.
Yeah, most certainly. I think what we've shown, though, from...
Wait, definitely priced in or not priced in?
I think it's priced in to some extent, right? Investors have not necessarily believed that there'll never be China sales coming from NVIDIA again. But what's interesting is they haven't necessarily needed it. Their revenue and earnings growth has been incredibly robust, even with China essentially being offline now for multiple quarters. Yeah, at one point, China was about 15% of NVIDIA's global sales. And of course, that hasn't been the case. But investors have really, particularly when it comes to the AI trade, really started to look months, if not years ahead of where that's coming from. And I do think investors have started to say at some point China comes back.
Okay. You also say investors are rotating down the AI stack. You say Micron's kind of emblematic of that. By the way, we're just showing the Micron chart. Micron shares actually up about 0.5% right now. If investors are going to move down the stack, how do they beat the benchmark, which of course is the S&P that's so heavily weighted in these stocks that we call the Mag 7, but they're also just big earnings generators?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's obviously been a significant amount of market concentration. And a lot of people have sort of poo-pawed the market and been bearish because so many of the larger stocks dominate indices. But if you actually look at, to your point, where revenue growth has come from, where earnings growth has come from, to date, it's really been a selective group of companies. With that being said, the AI trade is most certainly evolving. I think investors have now realized it's not just about the GPUs themselves. You need things like memory and storage. So a company like Micron in the memory space, and then a company like SanDisk in the storage space, which is a stock that obviously it came back to the market, but was essentially left for dead for a long time. But you can't have these powerful data centers without both the AI chips themselves and then the memory and storage to make it all happen.
Okay. We've seen a broadening in the market. At the same time, we've seen geopolitical turmoil. We've all seen some domestic issues, including that probe of Jay Powell. As you're looking at your portfolio and what you're investing in and managing, how do you manage all this risk? We haven't seen a big flare up in the VIX, but there seems to be the potential for that at least.
Yeah, it's interesting. To your point, the sort of macro risks have not been there. If anything, year to date, it's been a reassertment, of the high beta trade, right? We have high beta stocks doing incredibly well, meme stocks doing incredibly well, small caps, high beta, what have you. Plus, to your point, the metals have come back. I do think this 2026, especially being a midterm election year, investors should expect for greater volatility. And that's sort of why you need to be pretty selective in these areas. And going forward, I think you need to have a combination both of sort of your mega cap tech, your Mag 7, to play some offense and defense, but still selectively combine that with stocks that actually have the potential to reintroduce new earnings growth into the market.